Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the manufacturing process tutorial production to and assembly. In this video, we will produce part steel base barrier, steel mat barrier, steel rod, nap tag, and welding steel base with steel base barrier. Before entering the production process, we will show you the personal protective equipment must be used on shop floor.
The following is the hacksaw machine that will be used for the process of making steel base, steel make, and steel rod parts that we need to know to be able to operate the hacksaw machine. The first is a drive motor used to drive the hacksaw machine. Then there is a drive mechanism used to channel power from the drive motor to the saw blade. Then there is a knife rest or saw frame, there is a saw blade, a vise, then a vise locking lever, and a handle. The tools used in the use of this machine are first ruler, second crusher, 3 caliper, 4 elbow ruler, 5 measuring tape, and finally iron file. The PPE used in the use of this hacksaw machine includes wear pack to protect the operator's body from minor to severe injury. Second, safety glasses protect the eyes from harmful residual materials that can interface with eye health, such as scrap. And finally, shoes avoid foot accident and improve the effectiveness of operator movements during work. Next, we will make part steel base. With the first step is to prepare the strip plate. Then prepare some tools in the form of an elbow ruler, caliper, and a scraper. The next step is to take measurements of the strip plate with a length of 40 mm with caliper. Apply a marker using a scratcher. And clarify the mark with the help of an elbow ruler. Before entering the cutting process, friends must prepare coolant first. The first step is to lift the handle away from the vise. Next, make a cut by inserting the workpiece in the vise. Then position the saw blade exactly with the scraper. If you feel it is appropriate, lock the vise. Then the lower handle until it is close to the workpiece. Make sure the operator is next to the hacksaw machine. To do the cutting process, we can press the green on button. Spray water coolant periodically to cool the area where friction occurs, namely between the saw blade and the workpiece. Once the workpiece is cut, switch off the machine by pressing the red button. Here are the results of the cutting using a hacksaw. The next step is to fit the former hacksaw machine cutting using a milling machine. For the first component is the feed handle. Then there is a feed handle lock to lock the feed handle. Then there is a spindle, arbor, and blades. The next component is an operation control to start and turn off the engine. Then there is the measurement scale along with a spindle lock. Next there is a vise, machine table, along with longitudinal and transverse slit. For the tools used on this milling machine include first coolant, scratcher, caliper, elbow ruler, dropper, hammer, spindle turning handle, vise locks, iron file, and brushes. For PPE used in the use of this milling machine includes first wear pack to protect the operator's body from minor to severe injury. Second, safety glasses. Protect the eyes from harmful residual materials that can interface with eye health such as scrap. And finally, shoes. Avoid leg injuries and improve the effectiveness of operator movement during work. Here are the steps in operating a milling machine. Step 1. Insert the workpiece into the vise and lock it using the vise lock. Once the workpiece is attached to the vise, make sure the workpiece is straight by using an elbow ruler. Then remove the spindle lock. And feed handle lock. Lower the feed handle until the blade is straight with the surface you want to it. Then retighten the feed handle lock. And spindle lock. Next, set the position of the blade right in front of the hacksaw cutting mark by adjusting the longitudinal of transverse slit. Start the milling machine by pointing the operation control button in the reverse direction. Feeding by rotating the slate transversely. And don't forget to keep air cooling regularly. Perform the feeding until it is finished, then turn off the milling machine and take the workpiece. The following are the results of feeding using a milling machine. The next step is to do a filing process on the parts that have been cut to remove the raw surface. Here are the vise and iron file that will be used for the filing process. There is a vism itself, there is a vise lock used to lock the workpiece, and finally there is the iron file. The PPE used in this tinking process includes a wear pack to protect the operator's body from minor to severe injuries, and shoes. Avoid foot accidents and improve the effectiveness of operator movements during work. The last step is to do some tinking on the steel base parts using a vise and iron file. First, attach the workpiece to the vise and make sure it is tight. Then, do the filing process with unidirectional movements. Here is the final result of the steel base part.
After finishing making the steel base part, we will continue to make the steel made part using the hacksaw machine again. The first step, to prepare the strip plate and prepare some tools in the form of an elbow ruler, caliper, and scratcher. The next step is to take measurement of the strip plate with a length of 120 mm using a caliper. Apply a marker using scratcher. And clarify the mark with the help of an elbow ruler. Before making a cut, the practitioner must first prepare the coolant. Next, lift the handle away from the vise. Then insert the workpiece into the vise and position the saw blade straight with the already made scratch mark. Then lift the handle again and lock the vise until it is strong. After that, bring the saw blade closer to the workpiece. Make sure the practitioner is next to the hacksaw machine. To carry out the cutting process, start the hacksaw machine by pressing the green button. And don't forget to always spray coolant regularly. Then, hold the workpiece if you feel that the workpiece will be cut. Turn off the machine by pressing the red button. Then, press the saw blade and open the vise to pick up the workpiece. Here are the results of cutting using a hacksaw machine. Here are the steps in operating a milling machine. Step 1. Insert the workpiece into the vise and lock it using the vise lock. Once the workpiece is attached to the vise, make sure the workpiece is straight by using the help of an elbow ruler. Then, remove the spindle lock and feed handle lock. Lower the feed handle until the blade is straight with the surface you want to hit. Then, retighten the feed handle lock and spindle lock. Start the milling machine by pointing the dial in the reverse direction. Feeding by rotating the slate transversely. Don't forget to give air coolant regularly. After finishing feeding, turn off the milling machine, then return the blade to its original place. Grab the workpiece by removing the vise lock. Here are the results of feeding using a milling machine. The next step is to carry out the filling process on the parts that are smooth in the milling machine. The first step is to attach the workpiece to the vise and make sure it's tight. Then do the filling process with unidirectional movement. Here are the results of grinding steel made parts. Here is a bench drilling machine used for the drilling process on the workpiece. There are several components that we need to know to carry out the drilling process. First, there is the switch on off, which is used to turn the engine on and off. Next, there is a feed handle that is used to raise and lower the drill bit. Next, there is a spindle where the drill bit rotates. Then there is a chuck that functions to grip the drill bit. There is a drill bit too. In addition, there is a vise used to clamp the workpiece. And lastly, there is a work table. For personal protective equipment, use of this bench drilling machine includes wear pack to protect the operator's body from minor to severe injury, safety glass protect the eye from harmful residual materials that can interfere with eye health such as scrap, and the last is shoes avoid foot accident and improve the effectiveness of operator movements during work. The next step is to take measurement before using a bench drill machine. Prepare the necessary measuring aids in the form of a caliper, elbow ruler, scratcher, dropper, and hammer. First of all, we take measurement from the side of 60 mm and mark them using a scratcher and the help of an elbow ruler. And also take measurement from the top side of 25 mm and mark them using a scratcher. And clarify the mark using an elbow ruler and a scratcher. Then perform a lift on the workpiece that has been marked using a hammer and a drop with only one stroke. Here are the results of the pinning using a hammer and a dropper. After doing the pinning in the previous step, we just immediately drilled using a bench drill machine. The first step that needs to be done is to place the workpiece on the vise and tighten the vise until the workpiece is no longer moving. Make sure the drill bit is in accordance with the pinning point done earlier. Then, do the drilling process by turning on the bench drill. Then raise and lower the drill bit by using the feed handle. Here are the results of using a bench drilling machine. The following is the phrase drilling machine that will be used. There are several components that need to be known to operate this machine. The first is feed handle that function to raise and lower the drill bit. Then there is a feed handle lock that functions to lock the feed handle. Then there is spindle, arbor, and drill bits. The next component is a spindle lock that functions to lock the arbor. And there is an operation control that functions to turn the engine on and off. The next component is a vise that functions to clamp the workpiece. Then there is a work table. Next, there are transverse row and longitudinal slats that function to shift the work table in the vertical direction and right and left. For personal protective equipment, use of this freeze drilling machine includes wear pack to protect the operator's body from minor to severe injury. The next is safety glass to protect the eyes from harmful residual materials that can interfere with eye health such as scrap. And last is shoes, avoid foot accident and improve the effectiveness of operator movement during a work. After completing drilling using a bench drilling machine, the next drilling process is carried out using a freeze drilling machine. The first step is to attach the workpiece to the vise, then lock it using the vise lock that has been provided. Position the drill bit straight through the drilling mark by moving the longitudinal and transverse slats. And lowering the drill bit using the feed handle. Start the engine by turning the lever in the reverse direction. Perform drilling until the drill bit penetrates the workpiece. Don't forget to apply air coolant periodically so that the drill bit does not wear out or damage quickly. After completing drilling, the next step is to remove the workpiece on the vise. Here are the drilling results of the steel-made part. The last step is to do the filling process on the parts that have been drilled using iron file and a vise. The first step is to attach the workpiece to the vise and make sure it is tight. Then, do the filling process with unidirectional movements. Here are the final results of the steel-made part.
Furthermore, the manufacture of steel mat barrier and steel base barrier part using a hacksaw machine. First, prepare the iron box axle and its measuring tools such as a caliper, elbow ruler, and scatter. Take measurement for 50 mm steel mat barrier and takes to measurement. Then, mark it using a scatter and clarify the mark using an elbow ruler. And for the 40 mm steel base barrier part, take 2 measurements as well. Then, mark it using a scatter and clarify the mark using an elbow ruler. Before entering the cutting process, practicant must prepare coolant. The first step is to lift the handle away from the vise. Next, the cutting is carried out by inserting the workpiece in the vise. Then position the saw blade exactly with the scraper. If it is felt that it is in accordance with the lock of the workpiece in a width of vise. Then lower the handle until it is close to the workpiece. Make sure the operator is next to the hacksaw machine. To perform the cutting process, we can press the green on button. Spray coolant periodically to cool the area where friction occurs between the saw blade and the workpiece. When the workpiece has started to cut, hold the workpiece so that it does not fall. Turn off the machine by pressing the red button on the hacksaw machine. Then rest the handle and turn the vise to release for the workpiece from the vise. Perform the same cutting process for the steel base barrier part. Here are the results of the cutting using a hacksaw. After going through the cutting process using a hacksaw machine, the next thing is to do scraping using a milling machine. Step 1. Insert the workpiece into the vise and lock it using the vise lock. After the workpiece is attached to the vise, check whether the workpiece is straight using an elbow ruler. If it is felt that it's straight, lock the workpiece using a vise lock. Then, position the workpiece in front of the blade. Then, remove the spindle lock and feed handle lock. Lower the feed handle until the blade is straight with the surface you want to it. Then, retighten the feed handle lock and spindle lock. After completing the setup, the next step is to do the scraping process. Start the milling machine by turning the operation control in the reverse direction. Perform scraping process by rotating the transfer sled. Don't forget to spray the coolant. After finishing feeding, turn off the engine by turning the operation control back to its original place. Next, take the workpiece by unlocking the vise. After scraping process the steel mat barrier part, do the scraping process for the steel base barrier part as well. The following are the results of scraping using a milling machine. The last step in making steel-made barrier and steel-based barrier part is to do a filling to smooth out the traces of scraping process if they are part they are not neat. Here are the vise and iron file that will be used. The first step is to install the workpiece in the vise until it is tight. Then, do the filling process with a one-way motion. When finished, remove the workpiece from the vise. Do some filling process for steel-based barrier part as well. The following are the final result of the steel-made barrier and steel-based barrier part.
For the next, we will make a steel rod part using a hacksaw machine. The first step is to prepare a steel rod or solid iron and prepare several measuring aids in the form of an caliper, elbow rules, scratcher, and coolant. The next step is to take measurements of steel rods with a length of 105 mm using an elbow rule. Apply a marker using scratcher. Next, we will enter the cutting process. The first step is to lift the handle away from the face. Next, the cutting is carried out by inserting the workpiece in the face. Then, position the saw blade exactly with the scratcher X. If it is felt that is in accordance with the workpiece, lock using a face lock. Then lower the handle until it is close to the workpiece. Make sure the operator is next to the hacksaw machine. To perform the cutting process, we can press the green on button. Spray coolant periodically to cool the area where friction occurs between the saw blade and the workpiece. When the workpiece has started to cut, hold the workpiece so that it does not fall. turn off the machine by pressing the red button on the hacksaw machine. Then raise the handle and turn the vise to release the workpiece from the vise. Here are the results of the cutting using a hacksaw machine. The following is the lathe machine that will be used in manufacture of steel rod parts. There are several components that need to be known before operating this machine. The first component is the inching button, which serves to ensure that the chuck or rotation runs properly. The next component is the power indicator to see if the engine is active or not. For the next component, there is a chuck or grip that functions to clamp the workpiece on the lathe. The next component is the tool post, which is the holder of the lathe tool. Feed hand wheel function to carry out the turning process transfers, while this carried hand wheel to carry out the turning process along the PPE used in the use of the lathe machine includes wear pack to protect the operator's body from minor to severe injury. Safety glass protect the eyes from harmful residual materials that can interfere with eyes health, such as scrap. And finally, shoes avoids injury to the legs and increases the effectiveness of operator movement during work. Then enter the turning process using a lathe machine. Fit the workpiece in the chuck like this and lock it securely. Before performing the feeding, remove the chuck lock and place in it a safe place. Do not place it on top of the lathe as it may endanger the operator. After the steel rod part is installed, take a measurement of 5 mm, then mark it using a scraper. Then, bring the lathe tool closer to the size that has been given the sign. After the lathe tool is attached according to the size of 5 mm, do inching to provide marking on the steel rod part. Do the inching, then press the inching. After marking, we keep the lathe tool away from the workpiece. The first step for feeding, we bring the lathe tool closer to the workpiece. Then, change the scale to 0 mm by holding this feed hand wheel so that it does not rotate. Keep the lathe tool away from the workpiece again. Now, set the feed hand wheel scale to 1.6 mm. Rotate the feed hand wheel together. Do the feeding by lowering the on-off lever that is on this side. Bring the tool blade close using two hands and feed up to the limit of the previous. Don't forget to spray coolant regularly. After it is feel that it is enough, keep the tool blade away. Then turn it off by lifting the lever on off. After turning off the latte immediately, change feed hand wheel scale to 0 mm by holding the feed hand wheel. After that, change the feed hand wheel scale to 1.6 mm without holding the feed hand wheel again, and then do the feeding. After turning the second time, check whether the workpiece fits into the steel mat. If you feel that it is not suitable, do the turning once again with an adjusted scale. After finishing feeding, check the workpiece by releasing the clutch lock using a clutch lock. Here is the final result of the steel rod part.
This machine is commonly called a dobot, which is used to make name-tag parts. The dobot have several components that need to be considered in order to be able to operate the dobot. The first one is base. Base is used to support the entire robotic arm. The second is rear arm. The third is forearm, that is used to direct the end effector to the work process. The fourth is end effector, which is a tool that is at the end of the robot arm. The fifth is a lock forearm, which is used to drive the forearm. And the sixth is the indicator light, which is used to ensure that the engine is turned on and in the correct position. The last one is the power button, which has a function to turn the bot on and off. Then this one is Dobot Studio software to operate the Dobot. Okay, for the PPA, what we use for this Dobot machine process is just only protective glasses. Next is create a name-tag part using Dobot. The first one is prepare the MDF wood and then press the MDF wood to the predetermined position. Then don't forget to put the MDF wood by prioritizing the edges first. Open the Dobot Studio application first on your PC. Okay, just wait. Okay, after that, select this one, COM5, click COM5 and then click connect. and after that click the homing. Okay, until the robot homing is enough. Okay, enough. After that you can select right and draw and then X and then change the end effector to laser. Next, create an outer box using a rectangular on input shape and then right click setting and then change the size for the outer box X to 249.75 and then Y is 35.75 and then height is 91.5, then the height is 18.5 and then uncheck list and lock and then create an inner box again using input shape as well. Then right click setting and then change the size again. X is 249 and then Y is 35, then weight is 60 and the height is 17. Then uncheck list and lock. Click OK. Okay, next is create an text input, then enter text according to the code of each group. As an example here, at px0, then right click setting and change the size again. X is 248.5 and then Y is 27 and then weight is 45 and the height is 16 and then uncheck list the lock aspect ratio and then OK. After that you can click the auto Z so that laser position doesn't change and then we can click scene pause. Okay, and then we can start. Okay, make sure you have used protective glasses before doing the implementation process and then we can click start. Okay, we can just wait until the laser of the bot process is done. This machine is called scroll saw machine that used in MDF food cutting process. There are several components that operator needs to know in order to properly and correctly operate the scroll saw machine. The first one is the on-off switch, which is used to turn machine on and off. The second is the speed knob, which is used to regulate the speed of the saw blade on the scroll saw machine. And then there is the table, which serves as the base for the workpiece during the cutting process. Then the saw blade used on the scroll saw machine is of the pin blade type. Then the last one, there is the overarm. The next one is the PPA, personal protective equipment for scroll saw operation. The first one is wear pack to protect the operator body from minor to severe injuries. The next one is safety glasses to protect the eyes from harm from residual material. And then the last one is safety shoes to prevent foot injuries and improve the operator movement efficiency while working. Before starting the cutting process, prepare the MDF material with the group name, outer boundary, and cutting box outlined before. The first one, place the material on the table. Make sure that the operator hands are positioned to the right and left of the material. And then, press the on the switch on-off to start the scroll saw machine. And then turn the speed knob clockwise to the maximum setting up to the white mark provided. And then, if the speed is high, begin cutting by guiding the saw blade along the outline of the MDF piece. Continue the cutting by pushing the saw blade forward and pulling it backward. Avoid making the entire cut in one pass. Once you finish cutting one line, move on the next side. Here are the part name tags that have been successfully created.
Next, we will weld the steel base and steel base barrier part using a welding machine. First, prepare tools in the form of clamping pliers, dropper, welding hammers, and iron brushes. First step, place the clamping pliers in the vise and lock it until it's strong. Next, clamp one steel base barrier with steel base using clamping pliers and make sure it is firmly locked. Then use the PPE of the welding machine, namely welding gloves. Then attach the small electrode to the electrode clamp. And then set the voltage toward 60 volts. Then start the engine by pressing the switch on. Stabilize the electrode to the metal base. After that, do the pin first as many as 3 points, then break the pins using a dropper. After feeling that it has been dowed well and cannot be removed, do a straight weld on the part using a large electrode. First, attach the electrode to the electrode clamp. After that, turn the voltage in the direction of 90 volts, then turn on the welding machine and do a straight weld. Don't forget to break the weld with a hammer, but don't hit it too hard. And the welded brush using an iron brush. After carrying out the welding process, the scraping process will be carried out using a grinding wheel hand grinder. The following is a hand grinding machine used in the scraping process. The first is a switch that is used to turn the hand grinder on and off. Furthermore, there is a protective cover that functions to protect the operator from the splash produced by the hand grinding machine. Lastly, there is a grinding stone that functions as a scraping tool on the weld. Mark of the marked workpiece and the grinding wheel use each type of grinding wheel. And finally, there is a power cable. For the PPE used in the use of this machine, there is first wrap to protect the operator's body from the spark of the hand grinding machine. Gloves are used to protect hands while working from sparks, electric currents, impact, and scratches of sharp or rough objects. Safety glasses to protect the eyes from sparks and harmful residual materials that can interfere with eye health. The ear is used to reduce the noise produced by the machine. Finally, shoes to avoid accident on the foot and increase the effectiveness of operators' movement during work. Next, we will do scraping on the parts that have been welded. The first step we have to do is to place the workpiece on the vise. Don't forget to use PPE. Make sure the power cord is behind the operator. Perform the scraping process by sliding the switch on button. Then perform the grinding process as follows. Here are the results of scraping using a hand grinder. After finishing welding and smoothing on the first side, then repeat the welding and scraping steps on the other side by doing the same step on the previous side. Here are the final results of welding and smoothing the steel base part.
Hope this video clearly explains techniques and steps.
Don't forget to always prioritize safety during the tutorial. Happy practicing and see you in the next video.